Avengers Infinite Wars Chapter 5. Rookies. Steve Rogers was quite literally overwhelmed right now. He was staring at a digital book of sorts, chronicling a beginner's guide of sorts on the history of the galaxy, and he quite frankly wanted to put it down already. Yes, Steve was very studious in terms of knowledge, but he can't deny the overwhelming amount of it he had just received upon accepting the aid the GD and the Chancellor had offered. He sat alone in a Spartanesque room that the GD had graciously offered to him and his two companions during their stay at the temple. Grateful as he was, Steve's mind remained on the idea of finding the other Avengers and getting home. Easier said than done. Steve thought bitterly, placing down the civilian holocron that he had received ending his reading session. Getting up to his feet and stretching out his body, Steve was getting a bit stir-crazy at being cooped up in his room and the guest area of the GD temple, even if it has only been several days. Exiting his room, Steve went over to Sam's door and found him missing the same being with Scott. Confused as to where the two were, Cap trusted his gut enough that they weren't far off and weren't getting into any trouble. At least crazy trouble, knowing Scott's tendencies. Choosing to walk in a random direction, Steve walked down the large decorated and elaborate halls of the GD temple, finding their architectural designs quite beautiful and pristine. The whole place gave off a very tranquil vibe, yet there was an underlying tension throughout the temple. Steve chalked it up to the war going on right now. Every now and then, a couple of GD passed by Steve, traveling mostly in pairs, with a small group being led by an elderly lady, who was directing a group of 24 young children, dressed in traditional GD clothing. Some stared in starry-eyed wonder at the strange man who gave them a kind smile, conveying he wasn't anything special, yet the younglings thought differently. Continuing on his path, Steve passed by many other GD, receiving momentary attention at best, until he reached a more open space filled with plant life and foliage that he had never seen before. A garden, huh? Steve mused to himself, going along one of its many branching paths. The air here was serene and peaceful, actually filling Steve up with a contentedness he had not felt in well ever truthfully. Maybe it was the work of that force thing the GD here have spoken of so many times. Ah, what have we here? Said a soft, gentle feminine voice. A lost traveler. Quirking a brow, Steve turned round to see a woman sitting beneath a tree of sorts, yet this was easily no ordinary woman. Human woman to say the least. Her face was kindly in appearance, though lacked a nose entirely, with her hairs being like tendrils in the texture of tree bark vines. In fact, from the look of it, Steve would have assumed her to be a part of the very tree she sat under. "Pardon, ma'am," Steve said politely. "You look lost, weary traveler," she said kindly, rising up off the ground to stand. "No, not traveler. Warrior. A warrior with internal conflict, great strife and concern." Steve found her not to be invasive or prodding, but rather curious, with a calming demeanor. She held an aura of great wisdom and knowledge to her, equal to that of Grandmaster Yoda perhaps. "Am I that easy to read?" Steve asked in good nature. The woman smiled, approaching him at a leisurely pace. "Ones who project their hearts in the open are usually purest of people," she said kindly, standing no further than a foot away from him. "I wouldn't call myself pure, ma'am," Steve said knowingly, somewhat somber now. "Not after the stuff I've done." "Wise, because you have doubt," the plant-like being went on. "Strength, within the very flaws you see for yourself. You are a truly rare individual, noble warrior." "You can call me Steve Rogers, ma'am," Steve said kindly, making her smile. "And in turn, I am Tra-Saw." The GD introduced herself, a mischievous twinkle in her eyes. "And I'll have to ask you to refer to my name then, ma'am. I may be a needy, but being a few centuries old has done nothing in dampening my youthful soul." Steve chuckled slightly. "And I thought I looked good for my age. Guess I still have a few more centuries to go then." Tra was rather bemused at the statement, yet felt no falsehoods or mockery from the man, only there was a story to be told behind the comment. "You're troubled, Mr. Rogers," Tra said, voice conveying a sense of understanding. "I think that would be putting it mildly, Ms. Saw." Steve's expression fell into a more neutral one. "There's a lot on my mind now, and there's so much that I can barely think, to be quite honest. And please, call me Steve." Tra only smiled, stepping to the side and gesturing her arm to the tree. "Would you care to have a seat then, Steve? I believe what you need is a way to clear your mind. I also insist on you calling me Tra, my friend. Only seems fair." Steve gave her a grateful smile. "Please, Tra. I'd rather not intrude upon your business." "Nonsense," Tra said softly. "Companionship is always favorable than solitude. Come, brave warrior." Sit with me. Let the force, let the garden and allow yourself to let go and relax your mind and body. Steve was having a hard time to say no, and to be quite frank, he really didn't see a reason or a need to. This GD trot just exuded a completely patient, calm and collected aura that was a bit enticing to be honest. He walked with her over to the tree, and now both sat beneath their leaves, with their legs crossed and arms resting on their knees. Thank you for the offer, Tra. Steve said upon leaning against the bark. Think nothing of Steve. Tra said, kind smile still in place. I saw someone in need and as my duty to the GD order and the force, I had to do what I can. Steve rubbed his chin in thought, replaying 2 words over and over again. The force. Steve said aloud, Tra tilting her head towards him. I've heard just about every GD and even a few of the clones and senators at one point referred to it. What is it exactly? Grandmaster Yoda and the council talked about it like it was some kind of religion. It is more than that. Tra said patiently, holding out her hand. Leaves fluttered down only for some to suddenly begin to encircle around her hand by an unseen force. It is the source of power for all GD, all those who have a greater connection to it, omnipresence across the galaxy. The lifeblood of anything and everything. Tra recited while the leaves around her hand began swirling about at a faster rate. We the GD are followers of the Force and its will, preservers of life and keepers of the peace. For my mantra, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. With the Force, we find balance, clarity and purpose. The Force is a sentient concept. And it has a plan. The more Tra spoke of the Force, the more it sounded like this GD orders God, if not the galaxy they currently resided in. Then why have some of the GD mentioned that they can't detect the Force around me and my friends? Steve inquired. Tra hummed in thought, lazily focusing upon one leaf while the rest drifted down to the ground. The Force utterly surrounds you, Steve. Tra informed. But it is void within you. You and your friends come from a world that has absolutely no connection to the Force. The 3 of you and your lost companions come from a place not of our understanding. It is truly fascinating to be perfectly honest with you. A world devoid of the Force, no pull of the dark side. The dark side? Steve said in confusion. What's that? Before Tra could answer, another voice interrupted. Ah, there you are, Master Saw. This was a woman and one that sounded a bit familiar to the super soldier. Tra however recognized it immediately. Isla. Tra said pleasantly, standing up to face the Twi'lek GD Knight. And she was not alone. With her was a grizzled middle-aged man with a scar going down his left eye, garbed in primarily black robes. Ah, what a pleasant surprise to see you as well, Thom. Tra greeted with a warm smile directed at the scarred GD Master who chuckled good-naturedly. I see you in good company as well. Thom said in turn, facing Cap who had also stood. Sir? Steve said respectfully. None of that now. Thom gently waved down. I've never been one for formalities unless necessary. Just Thom, thank you. Pleasure, Thom. Cap nodded. I'm Steve Rogers. Yes, I have heard of you. Thom said, extending a hand for Steve to shake, which he did. Heck of a grip you got there. I'll mention your great display of strength in combat. I do what I can. Steve said, turning to the blue-skinned Twi'lek. Miss Sakura, hope you're doing well. Well enough, Mr. Rogers. Isla responded kindly. If only under better circumstances. And please, I follow the same ideal my master have in terms of names. Then the same goes for me as well. You're departing then, Isla? Tra questioned with a slight frown marring the features of the young GD Knight. I am. Isla confirmed. Bly and the 327th is geared up and ready. We're being deployed to Hypori. Hypori? Tra said a bit hesitantly. That is a separatist stronghold. I'm not going alone. Isla said as a measure to assure her master. Masters Mundi, Shakti and Kruk are accompanying my fleet. We aren't going in weak. I think 2 GD Council members should be enough to alleviate a level of our concern. Thom said lightly. Indeed. Tra agreed. Good luck, Isla. Steve said with respect. Hope to see you back safe. Thank you, Captain. Isla said appreciatively, bowing her head. And I'll see you again, Masters. Ah, come here, Isla. Thom gave her a fatherly hug which she reciprocated, followed by doing the same with Tra. May the Force be with you, Isla. The needy GD Master said in goodbye. And to you as well, Master. Isla said, departing shortly after. Watching her leave, Steve heard the haggard sigh of Master Thom looking over to see him slump a bit. This war, Thom said tiredly, has brought about concern and worry for this old man's heart. The thought of losing both his apprentices is a difficult thing. War does that to people, Steve said knowingly. But I've seen Isla fight in the short time that I've known her. She's more than capable in handling herself. Of that, I never had a doubt, Thulm said, though gracing Steve with a grateful expression. It's just that war often makes one lose themselves. A fear unspoken of within the order. I know the feeling, Steve said with solemn expression. Back in my time, during the war one was a part of, we had to make a compromise with ourselves. We had to do a lot of nasty things that didn't exactly make us sleep well at night. How did you cope with such a choice? Tra found herself asking. We did what we had to so that no one else had to endure those types of choices, Steve said. We did it so people could be free and remain free. Tra and Thulm were rather stunned by the declaration, sharing a look. Thulm let out a tired sigh a few moments later, shooting a wry smile at Steve. If a man like you were in the GD order sooner, perhaps this war could have been avoided, Thulm stated. Maybe even guide the GD back to our old roots. Old roots? Story for another time, Thulm said. Just know this now, Steve Rogers. Placing a firm hand upon the captain's shoulders, a friendly smile now gracing the graying GD's features. You have made a friend in myself and Master Tra, Thulm said with promise, Tra nodding in agreement. I feel a man like yourself and the rest of your companions may just be the necessary kick the GD order need to save the galaxy and themselves. I'm using to saving one world, Steve said, humor lacing his tone. A galaxy. Even I think that may be way over our heads. Though I think you will be more than up to the challenge, Tra said knowingly. I appreciate the support then, Steve said honestly. Thank you both. On the other side of the galaxy. To say that Colonel James Rhodes was confused as to where he was would be a bit of an understatement. This whole damn place was kinda freaky. It was totally barren, no life for as far as the eye could see, and if he wasn't mistaking it, that moon up there looked more like Earth than it did the moon he knew of. He had tried several times now in contacting the Avengers, only to receive static for the third day in a row. Now, Rhodey's war machine armor had come equipped with rations and water as a contingency for emergencies like these. Thank God for Tony's forward thinking that, and the morbid idea that he had the random thought to install food in their armor, involving the first time he suited up in the Middle East, and the second time when he found himself in Tennessee. Granted, Rhodey had his own fair share of input due to years of being in the Air Force himself, but still the fact that these add-ons were there due to Tony's constant near-death experiences kinda sucked. Then again, he has been doing this on a daily basis even before either of the two suited up. But right now, he needed to focus. There had to be some way of contacting the others and finding out just where in the hell was he. To be perfectly honest with himself, Rhodey began to garner the creeping suspicion that he wasn't on Earth anymore. Coupled with the very clear, un-Earth-like creatures that he had seen flying around only added to that theory. Deciding to go for another fly, Rhodey's thrusters started up, and War Machine was now high in the air with his suit working. His suit of armor had naturally undergone an extensive amount of upgrades, courtesy of his best friend, and thankfully he had learned how to maintain his suit on his own to a great extent, though still not onto the level of Tony. It was enough though, as he had managed to pace out the suit's functions and power, thankful for the personalized arc reactor Stark had installed. Flying through the air, there was nothing inside other than the barren wasteland, and the endless expanse of stars above. One might say that the view above was beautiful and artistic, but War Machine wasn't here for that. Suddenly, his armor notified him of a large structure just a few clicks ahead. A structure that had power emanating from it. Rhodey propelled himself at a higher speed now with a destination in mind and in the distance. Maybe he could make some headway on his situation after all. Meanwhile, at said structure. It was built into a large canyon with a single landing platform where one lone figure in white armor stood. The clone trooper. Said trooper had a set of scopes attached to his helmet, allowing for a wider and longer field of view from his position. This is the deck officer checking in, the trooper said to the rest of his comrades within the base. Nothing going on. As usual. Inside the base were a group of clones all at several stations monitoring for any signs for unusual activity. More specifically, droid activity. Save for the two in the center, arm wrestling with a holo radio broadcast playing all the while. You're listening to the Grand Army of the Republic broadcast. The voice of the Outer Rim. This next one goes out to the mud jumpers of the 224th, slugging it out on Nimbin. Keep your head down and your seals tight, boys. Another clone holding a datapad entered the control room, just as one of the clones slammed his fellow trooper's arm down. Haha yes. The clone shot up in victory while the loser massaged his wrist. Who's next? Fives. Shouldn't you be watching your scopes, Heavy? The clone who had just walked in asked. Yeah? Let's take a look. Heavy responded condescendingly whilst pulling up a visual of the Rishi Moon's atmosphere. What did you know? All clear. Just like the last 100 times I've looked. Personally, I like that it's so quiet out here. The clone said, tapping his datapad. Get to catch up on my reg manuals. Echo, what is wrong with you? Heavy argued a bit childishly. We should be out on the front lines blasting droids. Right, Q-tip? Leave him alone. Q-tip said, turning to Echo. He was left in his growth jar too long. Yeah. Heavy said, sharing a laugh with Q-tip while Echo just frowned in annoyance and looked back to his manuals. Ugh, what was the point of all that training on Kamino if we just ended up here? Another clone complained. Yeah, you said it, droidbit. Heavy agreed. You might not realize it, Fives, but you landed on the most boring outpost in the entire Outer Rim. It was at this point that a clone had entered the control room, this one being distinguished with his grey brows and sideburns. He made his presence known by responding to Heavy's offhanded comment. And one of the most important, he said firmly. All heads turned to him with Q-tip shutting off the radio and a signal going off. All clones snapped up, standing straight in posture. Attention, Sergeant on deck. Echo shouted out. At ease. The clone sergeant said, eyeing the assembled clones. I know you're all new here, but I don't have to remind you that this quadrant is key to the Republic in the Outer Rim. If the droids get past this station, they can surprise attack the facilities we were all born on our homeworld of Kamino. The reminder of said planet made some of the troopers tense up at the thought of their birthplace being attacked. There's some officers on the way, so I want everything squared away and ready for inspection. The sergeant informed his squad. Understood. Sir, yes sir. Elsewhere in the galaxy, a fleet of Republic fleets floated idly through open space, with several V-19 Tauren starfighters flying towards the center ship of the fleet. Within said ship was Obi-Wan Kenobi, staring out into the vastness of space in deep contemplation, until turning back to head towards his former apprentice turned Jedi Knight Anakin. Still up, Anakin? Obi-Wan commented, approaching the younger Jedi who was leaning upon the center holo table overlooking a spherical map. I would have thought you'd have gotten some sleep by now. I'll sleep after we catch Grievous. Anakin said, all the while rubbing his temples. Clone intelligence last reported seeing the general in the Balmorra system, but that was several weeks ago. Since then, he's just vanished. Well, unlike you, maybe he's catching up on some much-needed rest. Obi-Wan said good-naturedly. Anakin's faithful astromech droid R2-D2 chirped in agreement to Kenneby's assessment. Anakin instead kept up his frown, eyes glancing down. Something else has been bothering you, Anakin. Obi-Wan said. What's wrong? Before Anakin could answer, Admiral Wolf Yularen of the Republic approached the two. Excuse me, General. Yularen cut in. Incoming transmission from Commander Cody. Yularen pressed down on a button with a small miniature holo Cody appearing before them. General Kenobi, General Skywalker. Cody gave each Jedi a respectful nod. Cody. Kenobi greeted cordially. How goes the inspections? The tracking station on Pastel is fully operational. Cody reported. Captain Rex and I are on our way not to the outpost stationed in the Rishi system. Good. Report back when you arrive at the Rishi base. Obi-Wan said. Copy that, General. Cody out. The holo Cody flickered out a second later. Good man, that Cody. Kenobi praised before looking to Anakin. Don't worry, Anakin. If General Grievous comes anywhere near this quadrant, we'll know about it. Master. Anakin abruptly looked to him. Do you feel something unusual? What do you may? Obi-Wan fell silent, furrowing his face in concentration. General Kenobi. Yularen spoke up, noting Obi-Wan's expression. Is everything alright? After several seconds of silence, Obi-Wan answered. The Force, I feel, is shifting and moving about. Keep a close eye on the Rishi system. Anakin instructed the Admiral. I'd rather not take any chances. Rishi Moon. War Machine had been flying for a few minutes when at long last, he saw a large station in the distance. Finally. Rhodey murmured when suddenly, his sensors went off notifying him of incoming objects hurtling down from above. Looking up, Rhodey's eyes widened at the flaming objects coming down from the sky. A meteor shower. Sensors went off once more, signaling how close one was to hitting him. Without thinking twice, Rhodey flew back a good distance and out of range of the falling meteorites, and waited for the shower to subside. Alright, either I'm on the weird part of Earth or I'm not on Earth, Rhodey murmured to himself. While Rhodey was witnessing the meteor shower, the clones themselves within the base were notified of the falling rocks. Sir, incoming meteor shower. Droidbit notified. Raise the shield. He instructed with Droidbit doing just that. You wanted excitement, Heavy. Q-Tip mentioned with Heavy rolling his eyes in response. Right. Oh, meteor shower. Heavy said in sarcastic fear. The meteors impacted the ray shield of the base, yet all was not as it seemed. Witnessing the shield's defenses was War Machine, who gawked a bit at what he saw. Seriously, just where in the hell am I? Rhodey asked for what felt like the 1000th time already, but felt adequately appropriate now more than ever. He then noticed something not that far from him and tilted his head. What is that? He internally asked himself, seeing some kind of dome-like contraption with 3 metal appendages embedded into the ground. A red light then shined out coming from the flat part of the unusual craft face the planet's surface, and out jumped lanky robots that looked somewhat similar to Ultron drones. War Machine murmured aloud, narrowing his eyes with his weapon systems powering up. Thanks to his advanced suit, it allowed him get a clearer and closer visual of what he was looking at without moving from his spot. Not Ultron drones, Rhodey mentally said while assessing the situation. Just what had he gotten himself into? He noticed one of them had a blade of some kind attached to his back, while also carrying the same gun as the other dark-plated bots following after it towards the base. Making sure to edge himself closer to the base, he noticed something white get tossed from the platform a moment later. It looked like a body. Gritting his teeth, War Machine now chose to fly over to get a closer look, when he heard what could be described as some kind of pulsar plasma fire, when it faded out quickly. Looking to the entrance, Rhodey used the many craters and hills as cover, while edging himself closer to the base, as to not alert any unwanted attention. Unfortunately, attention came for him in the form of a looming shadow from behind. Armor warning systems blaring, Rhodey whirled around in time to see gigantic eel-like creature, with a 4-jawed mouth hovering over him with its intentions clear. Alright, seriously, what the fuck? War Machine yelled out, taking to the air as the creature lunged forward in an attempt to devour the Air Force pilot. In retaliation, Rhodey unleashed a barrage of hot metal lead into the beast, managing to pierce its hide repeatedly, which made it cry out in anguish. It used the many large holes in the area to flee the fire directed at it, leaving one very confused and now anxious Avenger. God fucking damn it. War Machine let out bitingly. Just what the hell was Herder working on? His internal conflict was interrupted by the sound of metal echoing down from the cavern below. Turning around to face the interior, Rhodey's suit picked up on movement to the far right down from the base. He then saw 4 white armored humans jump out from some kind ventilation shaft when from afar he spotted another one of those gigantic creatures, seemingly stalking them from above. Eyes widening in horror, Rhodey flew forward at top speeds in hopes of intercepting the giant monster. Meanwhile, the 4 surviving clones of the Rishi base were conversing on what to do next. So what do we do without the Sarge? Q-Tip asked his squad. Echo of course recited. Well, the reg manuals say that the next. Hold on. Heavy cut Echo off. Do you guys hear something? There was a mixture of a moaning hiss, coupled with something scraping against rock. Then came a more metallic and artificial sound. Yeah, actually. 5 spoke up. What is all that noise? That doesn't sound like droids. Don't forget about those giant Heavy said when it was Echo who interrupted him. Look. Echo cried out, pointing to something that was headed right for them at high speeds. What the hell is that? Heavy yelled out, pulling out a pistol. Looks like. Q-Tip then cried out in terror and plea, as the clones were snuck up on by a giant eel with their brother in its mouth. Q-Tip. Echo shouted out to his brother when suddenly a metallic humanoid figure slammed itself into the side of the eel, making it drop Q-Tip. It flew back into a hover and fired a missile from its shoulder into the eye of the eel, killing it. What the hell is that? Heavy said aloud, gun aimed right at him. It looks like a droid. Echo said in trepidation. The metallic figure then landed in front of them, and its helmet flipped back to reveal a dark-skinned human. Are you guys alright? He asked. The 4's clones' eyes widened with 1 or 2 jaws dropping beneath their helmets while they glanced at one another. Who the hell was this guy? Yeah. Echo said slowly. We're alright. Thanks for the save. Q-Tip said, panting a bit frantically while also patting himself on the chest upon realizing he narrowly escaped death. Who are you? Fives asked. Colonel James Rhodes. Their savior stated formally. I go by War Machine. I'm with the Avengers. The Avengers? Echo repeated. Who are they supposed to be? Your colonel. Q-Tip said, standing up a bit straighter now. I don't think I'm your colonel. Rhodey said with a slight humorous tone regardless of the situation at hand. Wait, please tell me, where exactly am I right now? The clone troopers looked to one another with Fives shrugging and turning to address Rhodey. You're on the Rishi Moon outpost of the Republic, sir. Fives said respectfully. The what on the what? Rhodey said in clear confusion. Sir, not to be disrespectful or anything, but Echo went on when. Boys look. Heavy said, pointing above them. It's Commander Cody. Echo said upon realization of the craft. The inspection team. A flying ship that I don't recognize. Rhodey said to himself. Alright, it's official, I am not on Earth anymore. The level of panic began to set in for Rhodes coming to the aforementioned conclusion. We've got to warn them. Q-Tip said hurriedly. Get on the comm link. Heavy instructed Echo. The clone tried in several failing attempts. It's no use, their comms frequencies are on a different scramble set. They're walking right into a trap. Heavy said grimly. I'll signal them with this flare, Fives said, holding up the flare. Up on the landing platform was Commander Cody and Captain Rex conversing with a very unusual clone trooper. He had been very adamant in keeping both superior officers from entering the base, so Rex had had enough, getting right in the trooper's face. Take us to the sergeant in command. Rex ordered sternly. Roger, Roger. The clone replied, making Rex and Cody share a look when a red light shot out from beneath the platform and high up into the air. A droid attack flare. Cody said in befuddlement. Without wasting a movement, Rex held up his rifle and promptly shot the trooper in the head. Whoa, Rex. Cody said, freaked out at the action. What the hell are you doing? Relax. Rex said confidently, going over to the downed body and removed its helmet. Just as I thought. Looks like one of those new commando droids. That flare must have come from the survivors. Cody surmised. Laser fire then filled the area. Ambush. Rex yelled out with both he and Cody, now being surrounded by other commando droids all firing at them. Both moved back towards the crates for cover, shooting back all the while. Cody landed a few shots upon one of the droids, only for it to straighten back up and resume fire. Arg, those clankers have got some tough armor. Cody said in annoyance. Down below, the others heard the firefight. We've got to get up there and help them. Echo said. Yeah, but none of us can without cables or being able to fly. Fives said in epiphany, looking to Rhodey. The others soon picked up on this. Colonel Rhodes, sir. Fives said quickly. I know this is sudden, but... Kaboom. Fives was interrupted by the sound of Cody and Rex's ship being blown up above. No? Echo cried out. Damn it. Heavy growled. Now what do we do? Don't panic just yet. Rhodey said, gesturing his head. Looks like whoever was up there. The clone squad saw two figures descending on down from the platform via cables. Made it out just fine. Come on. Q-Tip said and all four ran forward. Rhodey briefly contemplated on what to do next, but right now, he really didn't have much options. So following these soldiers who all sounded exactly the same seemed to be his best course of action at this very moment. Rex and Cody in the meantime touched down upon the ground. Well, this sure complicates things, Commander. Rex wryly said, observing the wreckage of their ship. No worse than that time we had on Tiburon. We had GD with us on Tiburon. Cody reminded. They helped. Both Rex and Cody then gave pause to four figures walking around the fire and towards them. Hands above your head. Rex commanded, leveling his rifle at them with Cody in tow. Take your sunbonnets off. Sir? The one with the binocular attachment said in confusion. Now? Rex barked out, and the four troopers obliged, revealing familiar faces. Rex and Cody relaxed only to snap up their weapons again at the sight of a hulking metallic figure, when two of the clones jumped in their way. Whoa, sirs. The clone with the tattoo number 5 on the right side of his cranium said calmly. Don't shoot the help, sirs. The help? Rex asked. Yeah, Colonel Rhodes here saved my hide something good. Q-Tip stated. Rex and Cody then saw a human head and lowered their weapons. Oh shit. Rhodey suddenly said aloud with his back minigun springing up. From behind came yet another one of those giant eels, only this time, Captain Rex was quick on the draw and shot it in the eye for an instant kill. Letting out a mournful moan, the predator fell down and did not move. "Nice shot," Echo murmured. The clone captain kneeled down to inspect his kill, taking his helmet off in the process. "The name's Rex, but you will call me Captain or Sir." "Sir, yes sir," the clone trooper said in response. "I'm Commander Cody," said the yellow-tinted trooper, helmet also removed. "Your new boss." "My designation is Trooper 27 to 5555, sir." "We call him Fives," Heavy said. "I'm Heavy. This is Echo and that's Q-tip." "And you are?" Rex inquired, eyeing War Machine, who had been silent in all this, while looking at all the clones in bewilderment. Colonel James Rhodes, but who are all of you guys?" Rhodey found himself asking. "Are you guys brothers? Clones? 'Cause you'll look way too alike." "Both really?" Rex responded with a slight smirk before growing serious. "You say you're a colonel?" "Yes, Air Force. I'm with the Avengers," Rhodey nodded with pride before murmuring bitterly. "Though that barely seems to matter right now." Rex and Cody's head snapped up to him with wide-eyed shock. "Avengers?" Cody said slowly. "You said Avengers, right?" "Yeah." A sudden swell of hope entered Rhodey, looking between the high-ranking clone officers. "You know about them?" "Do the name's Captain Steve Rogers." Rhodey finished for Rex. "Yeah, Cap. Have you seen him? Have you seen the others?" "Well, this has certainly become interesting," Rex said in humored disbelief. "We find one of the lost Avengers and a batch of shinnies, Commander." "You know this person, Captain?" Echo asked. "Shinnies?" Heavy said in slight confusion. "What's that?" "Your armor," Rex said, walking up to Echo and placing his blue blood-stained hand upon Echo's chest and leaving a handprint. "It's shiny and new. Like you. And if you want to know, the Avengers are a bunch of new guys who can do crazy things that we can't even begin to dream of," Rex quickly explained. "So then, what do we do now then?" Q-tip questioned. "The base is still in the hands of the droids." "Sir?" Heavy spoke up, addressing Rex directly. "Me and my batchers are trained and ready. We'll take back the base, shiny or not. There may be hope for you yet, rookie," Rex said approvingly. Sirs, not to hold us back or anything, but what about Colonel Rhodes here?" Fives inquired. "We can't just leave him here after he saved us," Q-tip argued. "Captain Rex," Rhodey said. "You and Commander Cody know about the Avengers, right?" Both clone officers nodded. "How exactly do you know them?" "We met them after coming from the planet of Naboo," Cody quickly explained. "Captain Rogers, Lieutenant Wilson and Scott Lang assisted in repelling the droid army before coming back with us to Coruscant and explaining their situation. We know you guys are from a planet not familiar with interstellar travel." "Well, that covers most of it then," Rhodey mused, nodding a moment after. "Alright, I'll help you guys out." This surprised some of the clones, though Rex gave the Avenger a hard stare. "Are you sure about this, sir?" Rex asked respectfully. "You're involving yourself in a war that's not yours. If Cap is the first to throw himself into a conflict like this one, he has good reason to," Rhodey reasoned with conviction. "Helping you guys take this base back seems to also be my best bet with reuniting with my comrades." "Much appreciated then," Rex said with a grateful nod. "Let's move, boys," Cody said to the other clones, all donning their helmets with Rhodey's coming on automatically. "Ah, that's too cool," Heavy commented. "I could fly up there to get a vantage point," Rhodey said to Captain Rex. "Make sure the platform is clear." "Much appreciated," Rex said, watching War Machine take to the skies and kept a good distance away from the base for precaution. "I want one," Five said in slight awe at the suit. Rex watched closely as after a few seconds, Rhodey gestured for them to start making their way up to the platform. "Let's move," Rex ordered, the squadron beginning their ascent up the cliff. As they got closer, Rhodey landed beside them with Rex handing off his blaster to Fives. "Look sharp, rookies," Rex instructed. "As long as those tweezers occupy this space, our homeworld of Camino is at risk." "But there's so many," Q-tip pointed out. "Doesn't matter, kid," Rex waved off. "We have to take back this space, so we will take back this space." "How do you propose we get through those blast doors, Rex old boy?" Cody asked with anticipation. "I have a few ideas," Rex said, looking to the doors. "I could blast my way through it," Rhodey said, getting everyone's attention. "This armor is a one-man army." "Then save that firepower for when they send down reinforcements," Rex countered. They always send it down, so we gotta take these clankers down quick and fast, so we have time to prepare for it. So what's the plan then? Rhodey asked. We give them a taste of their own medicine, Rex stated. What a taste of their own medicine, apparently, was Rex pretending to approach the blast doors in a similar fashion to the way the commando droids had when they first met the 2 clone officers. The rest of the squad was lined up against the blast doors out of sight from the camera that popped out to get a closer look at Rex. Unit 2-6. Is that you? Asked the commando droid on the opposite of the door. Roger, Roger. Rex responded as blandly and robotically as possible. You sound strange, the droid stated. Is something wrong with your vocabulator? Rex reached up to his throat in a further effort to add to the act. Roger, Roger. Take off your helmet, let me see your faceplate, the droid ordered. Roger, Roger. Rex complied with a hint of amusement. Rex stuck beneath the camera and held up a droid head. Up above, Rhodey couldn't fight the chortle that escaped him, watching Cody shake his head and palm his helmet. This is never gonna work, Cody murmured, slightly irked at the plan. Then the blast doors open. Then the droids realized it was a trick. Then Rex pulled the trigger. Roger, Roger. Rex said condescendingly, shooting down the middle droid while the others took out the other 2. Right? Rex said approvingly. Let's move. Rhodey landed behind the clones and ran past while holding out a hand for them to wait as they were at the foot of the stairs. Hang on, my suit's picking up on how many are up there, Rhodey informed. It could do that, Echo said in astonishment. Picking up, Rhodey paused for a moment. 9 hostiles up there. Permission to take points, sir? Heavy asked Rex. I'm always first, kid, Rex stated while giving Rhodey a pat on the shoulder for giving them a headcount of what they're up against. The team rushed in with Rhodey flying in head first towards 2 of the 4 commando droids, stationed within the primary control area of the base. Grabbing one head in each of hands, War Machine's suit strength on top of his flying momentum essentially crushed the heads like an empty soda can. The clones rushed in, quickly scrapping the droids as they were distracted by the abrupt arrival of War Machine. Alright, Q-Tip cheered. That was easy. Don't say that just yet, rookie, Cody interjected, looking over one of the control consoles of the base. Get to the window. Echo, your scopes. Obliging the commander, Echo went up to the window and looked through his scope attachment to see a large cluster of ships. Looks like a separatist fleet, Echo stated. Now we know why they commandeered the base, Cody said with finality. They're launching a full-scale invasion of Camino. We need to warn command now, Rex stated. All the while in the capital ship of the separatist fleet was the supreme commander of the droid army, and infamous GD killer, General Grievous. He was overseeing the entire mission at this moment. What is the status of the base below? Grievous demanded of one of the droids. The all-clear signal is still transmitting, but for some reason, our commando droids aren't responding, the droid pilot said. That base cannot be allowed to alert the GD of our planned invasion, Grievous said quickly. Send reinforcements down to investigate. Back down below in the base, the clones and Rhodey were considering their next course of action. They're gonna be sending down reinforcements at any given moment, Cody surmised, eyes still up at the stars where the enemy fleet currently resided. Sirs, Q-Tip spoke up. We've run into a serious problem. The clankers hardwired the all-clear signal and cut off our transmitters, Echo said. It will take time to repair. We don't have time for that, Rex said firmly. We need to warn the Republic now. Guys, Rhodey said solemnly. Looks like we've got incoming company. True to his word, a ship was descending down to the platform. A droid dropship, Q-Tip murmured. Well, Heavy, you always did want to fight on the front lines, Five said, giving his brother a pointed look. We can't protect the base from an army of clankers like that for long, Heavy admitted. Then we'll destroy the base, Rex said with finality. But sir, Echo argued. Our objective was to protect the base at any and all costs. Doesn't matter right now, Rex countered. The Republic needs to know now. They'll take notice the moment the all-clear signal stops transmitting. That's right, Five said in realization. As soon as the signal is gone, the Republic will know that something's wrong. Whatever your plans are then, you've got to hurry up, War Machine said, pointing outside. Cause they're marching towards us right now. I'll need every thermal detonator in the base, Rex said. With all due respect, sir, it'll take more than a couple of detonators to blow this space up, Heavy said. You guys do what you have to, Rhodey said, priming up his weapons. I'll buy you guys some time. Alone? Echo said in concern. Fives, Heavy. Rex said. Go with Colonel Rhodes. Back him up while we figure out what to do here. Yes, sir. Fives and Heavy said in unison, rushing off to the armory while War Machine left the control room down to the blast door entrance. Standing in front of the doors, Rhodey was joined by Fives and Heavy, the former holding a D-17 rifles, while the latter carried around his own minigun. Nodding to both of them, Rhodey heard the intercom of the other side of the door turn on with a nasally voice speaking. Reinforcements reporting. The voice said. Open up. The blast doors opened with Heavy revving up his weapon. You didn't say please. Heavy chided. Fives and Heavy opened fire upon the droids, while War Machine flew out and above, with all his weapons flaring out of his armor. When he first stated that his armor made him a one-man army, he wasn't fooling, as the high-impact and high-velocity rounds of his wrist guns, shoulder-mounted minigun and many other weapons effectively tore through the droid forces. Unbelievable. Heavy whooped out. Leave some for the rest of us, Colonel. Rhodey landed down on the pad, crushing a super battle droid beneath him. Firing both his primary weapons and palm repulsors, War Machine wiped out the reinforcements until marching was heard from the droid ship. The telltale sign of more droids. Five and Heavy had moved out further onto the platform and backing up War Machine. The next wave of droids came being met with lead and lasers. This is too easy. Heavy exclaimed excitedly. He really is a war machine. Even with those slug throwers. Rhodey stood where on the platform, using both manual and automatic fire and absolutely decimating the clankers. Any that got close were punched off the landing pad or ripped into two pieces. He then faced the entrance to the dropship and promptly fired off a dozen or so missiles into the interior of the ship. Explosions rocked the ship with the front of it completely blowing up. Fives and Heavy let out wheezing gasps of awe at the pure destructive power War Machine displayed, utterly decimating the droid ship. That was insane. Fives exclaimed. Where could I get one? Heavy whispered. Hey everyone, the LTs are what the hell happened out here. Q-Tip ran out of the base only to see the droid ship slump forward before falling back into the abyss. Now this is gonna be an awesome story to tell. Rhodey said a bit giddily, turning back to the still stunned clone troopers. Meanwhile, back up with Separatist fleet, General Grievous had received some unfortunate news. What's going on down there? Grievous demanded of the droids. It appears our reinforcements have been destroyed entirely. The droids said. What? Grievous growled. How is that possible? The clones must have used high ordnance explosives. The droids stated. Grievous seethed internally but kept a leveled head. If he sent down hyena bombers, that ran the risk of the base being destroyed or damaged enough, wherein the all-clear signal ran the risk of being disabled. Thus, the Republic fleet would come rushing in. Send in another group of battalions. Grievous ordered. We will not allow a few measly clones in notifying the Republic. Roger, Roger. War Machine and the clones were back in the base where a large set of gunk droids were huddled together. On their way into the base, Q-Tip quickly explained that they were gonna utilize liquid Tabana to destroy the base. Highly explosive liquid, Colonel. Fives added. We usually use it to heat the base when the weather heat gets below freezing. If only this damn detonator would work. Rex said as they entered the control room to see the captain fiddling with a device in his hand. What's the problem? Rhodes asked. The detonator won't connect. Rex stated in frustration. Guys. Echo said hurriedly at the window. More droid reinforcements incoming. Thinking fast, Rhodey looked to Rex. This thing is explosive, right? Most of the clones nodded. So aside from a detonator, all it needs is an explosions to penetrate the liquid from within to entirely set it off. More or less. Echo said with a shrug. Without uttering a word, Rhodey held up his wrist and fired several discs that attacked themselves to the closest gunk droid. There, that should be enough. Rhodey said with a satisfied nod. What's that? Heavy asked. Explosives. Rhodey elaborated. Hooked up to my suit. I can set it off once we're clear of the base. Great thinking, Colonel. Echo praised. Let's move then. Rex said, walking over to a ventilation shaft exit. Yeah, not gonna fit through there. War Machine mused. Then how are you gonna get out of here? Cody asked. We've got a lot of dropships coming in to retake the base. Leave that to me, Rhodey said confidently. Get clear of the base, gentlemen. And get ready to see the fireworks. The clones seemed to hesitate for a moment until Rex put his faith in the colonel and ordered the men out of the base. War Machine all the while walked around the base, taking in the many control panels and otherworldly tech that was both familiar and new to him. "Ha, like the simplicity," Rhodey said, metal fingers gliding over the many panels and buttons. He paused at the sound of metal footsteps marching up the stairs towards the entrance of the base. Casually strolling forth, he stood at the front of the center command panel looking right at the incoming battalion of droids that marched up the stairs. "Base is secure," the droids declared, until realizing they weren't alone. "Wait, who's that? Is it a new droid?" "Sure looks like one to me." "Have fun, guys," Rhodey said with a casual salute before firing up his thrusters at full blast and rocketing forth right through the lines of B1 and B2 battle droids. His armor was a metallic battering ram, slamming and bashing away any and all droids in front of him, until flying out from the base and high into the air. Using his scanners, Rhodey picked up on the clone squadron down below back where they all first met, and saw that they were safely out of range. "Enjoy." War Machine sent out the command. Within the base, the droids that weren't destroyed were trying to make sense as to what just happened. "What was that?" a B1 droid asked, clutching its head. "That sure didn't act like a droid." Beep beep beep. All heads swiveled to the center of the room, noticing the assembled gonk droids. "What's making thaw?" Boom. Outside the base, War Machine had reconvened with the others, and watched as the base went up in a blaze of glory. "Always hated that place," Heavy said a bit fondly. Above the Rishi Moon base, Grievous had witnessed the whole thing from that figure that flew out from the base to the entire post blowing up seconds later. "What happened?" Grievous barked out. "Who blew up the base?" "But isn't it good that the base is destroyed?" a droid asked. Grievous only called it one thing. Idiot. Suddenly an entire fleet of Republic fleets appeared before his own, outnumbering his fleet both in terms of numbers and firepower. "The Republic fleet," Grievous said in anger. "We're outgunned. Get us out of here this instant." Back down on the moon, Echo witnessed the whole Separatist fleet fleeing the sector. "We've got the tinnies on the run," Echo said with elation at the victory. "All thanks to the 5 of you." Cody praised the 4 clones and Rhodey. "Especially you, Colonel Rhodes," Rex said directly to the Avenger. "Let's get you back with your comrades." "Much appreciated, Captain," Rhodey said earnestly. "Look," Cuda pointed up. "Friendlies. Gunships," Rex said in relief. The ragtag group stepped down from the shadows, all waving their arms and guns in the air, getting the large ships to touch down before them, and open the doors for them. "Come on, boys." Rex gestured for them to get on. "Let's get our asses off this rock." Rhodey was then taken up to a large ship filled with more ships that made his Air Force blood stir and head spin. He was in freaking outer space. This was just crazy for the ironclad hero. And apparently, Rex and Cody were aware of the Avengers and had made contact with 3 of his allies. At least, that's what it seemed, considering those were the only names they divulged. So Commander Cody, a middle-aged man with a full beard, approached their recently landed gunship with another younger man by his side. "I take it the mission ran into complications." "Just a standard op, General Kenobi," Cody said. "Who blew up the base then?" Anakin Skywalker inquired. "That would be all of us, sir," Captain Rex said, gesturing to himself, the rookie clone squadron in War Machine. "And who is this?" Kenobi asked. War Machine's helmet flipped back to reveal his face. "You look familiar," Skywalker said, squinting at the Air Force pilot. "Sirs," Rex spoke up. "This is Colonel James Rhodes, otherwise known as War Machine. Of the Avengers," Kenobi said in realization. "Yes, you look familiar. Your comrades gave us faces in identifying who all of you are. So you know about us then?" Rhodey asked, his hopes getting affirmed knowing that his comrades were alright, judging by their reaction to him. "They gave us a rundown of your situation," Anakin said. "And it looks like we're gonna knowing a lot more about all of you guys." Rhodey tilted his head. "What's that supposed to mean?" "In less than a few days now, you Avengers have willingly thrown yourselves into this war, and have aided both the Republic people and our soldiers," Obi-Wan said with a grateful tone. "Don't what the generals are talking about," Colonel Heavy spoke up, stepping forward. "But because of you, my squad survived a lot more than we should have back on Rishi." "Me especially," Q-Tip said knowingly. "We owe you a lot, Colonel. And we can start by getting you back to Coruscant with the rest of your friends," Anakin stated. "It's the least we could do right now after you helped in getting the Republic here in time to fend off Grievous and his fleet." "A lot of that went over my head, to be honest," Rhodey sheepishly admitted. But all I need to know is that my friends are fine and you guys can help me get to them. Of course, Anakin said with a chuckle, finding Rhodey's honesty funny. Before they departed, however, a small quick ceremony was held for Fives, Echo, Heavy and Q-Tip, as Rexa decided to award them for their act of valor, and reassigned them into the 501st Legion. Anakin and Obi-Wan were present and thanked them graciously for their actions, stating he would be honored to fight alongside them at any battlefield. And the young general meant that with every word. As the two GD departed, one clone couldn't help but voice a matter that had been nagging him all this time. With all due respect, sirs, we don't truly deserve this honor, Echo said earnestly. We failed our mission in protecting the base and lost a lot of our brothers. But you took initiative in your actions and were more than ready to fight, Cody stated. Even with the help of Colonel Rhodes, the four of you stood tall in the line of duty, and showed me that you are the kind of soldiers that I need to fight beside us, Rex said with pride. Domino Squad, welcome to the 501st. You're not rookies anymore. The squad stood up straighter now, with their heads held high and crisp salutes presented to Rex and Cody. Sir, yes sir. Scene cut. So would Anakin and Obi-Wan just call us out here? Scott Lang asked his two companions as the trio stood at the entrance of the GD temple, with Yoda and Windu being present as well. They said something about a surprise for us, Sam said, looking up to the sky watching the many flying vehicles fly on by. Important this be? Yoda said. Did this force tell you? Steve asked, picking his words carefully. Yoda nodded. Sam, who had been looking up at the skies the entire time, widened his eyes and had his jaw drop upon spotting something flying towards him. Cap. Sam said aloud, gesturing up rapidly. Is that? Steve and Scott both looked up, and their reactions were the same to Sam's. War Machine, James Rhodes landed before them in a heroic pose before standing at full height before the armor opened up and out stepped their friend. Man, it is so good to see you guys, Rhodey said with a genuine smile. Sharing quick hand claps and hugs all around, Rhodey glanced behind him to see the lot gunship that had been transporting him hover down to them. Out jumped Anakin and Obi-Wan. Way to kill the surprise, Colonel Rhodes, Skywalker said dryly. How'd you guys find him? Steve asked. By accident really, Kenobi admitted. Almost a similar situation to yours really in hindsight. Everyone looked to Rhodey only to see him staring at Mace Windu in bewilderment. An expected reaction to say the least. Rhodey. Sam's voice broke through to the Air Force pilot, the fellow flyer giving him a wry grin. We've got a lot to catch you up on.